positive, then negative for COVID-19 in the same day. Shoreby Club closed. 6 employees tested positive for the coronavirus ahead of the president's visit there, using the same test the governor took. Why some doctors say those tests aren't being used correctly. Making music, staying safe. The steps a local marching band is taking to save their season. And no PJs allowed. One school wants students to get dressed before online classes. Your chance to weigh in. And 3 summer sangrias, a red, a white, and a sparkling rosé. We show you how to make 3 perfect summer drinks. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Hello again, Northeast Ohio. So glad you could join us. We have made it to another Friday. Thanks for picking What's New. Mike Polk is back to try it again today. I'm Jay Crawford. Happy Friday, Mike.
Happy to be here. 2 things happen as soon as we go live every time, Jay. My cat comes into frame, and my neighbors start mowing the lawn. That's how you know it's time to start a show.
Matt Wentz has the same problem. Every time we throw it to him for a forecast, you can hear a lawnmower start up somewhere in his neighborhood. Mike, we'll see you soon.
They love taking care of the yard work when they know we're going live. That's how our neighbors are treating us right now.
I think they do it on purpose, Mike. I think they know. We're starting today with Governor DeWine's crazy day yesterday. First, as we told you here yesterday, he tested positive for the coronavirus, and then just a couple of hours later, false alarm. The second, more accurate test came back, and it was negative. Laura Queso joins us now from the newsroom. Laura, good afternoon to you. The governor talked about the testing contradiction a short while ago. What a wild ride yesterday was for the governor.
Jay, that is certainly right. The governor even said it was a crazy day. Now, just a few hours ago, he let us know what happened, and really, how this all happened. That's what so many of you at home are probably wondering right about now. So let me take you back first. The governor tested positive for the coronavirus yesterday after undergoing a rapid test as part of the protocol to greet the president here in Cleveland. He returned to Columbus where he got another test. This was a more extensive test. It's called the PCR. That time, it was negative.
They reran it. A few hours later, we got a call that those tests had come back negative as well. So we're very happy, obviously happy about that. But going through that experience yesterday, pushed my head down right in it and said, hey, let's look at this reliability of this test.
Now, the governor said his false positive is concerning. As Dr. Peter Moeller from the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center explained, the first test DeWine underwent was an antigen test. The second, the PCR test, is considered the gold standard in coronavirus testing in terms of accuracy. He compared the difference between the 2 tests to the difference between a high-powered telescope and a pair of binoculars, and said that 90% of the tests that have been performed in Ohio have been the more accurate PCR tests. Again, the second test that DeWine got in Columbus after he received the rapid test here in Cleveland. Okay. Now, Governor DeWine said all the while he never had any symptoms. The governor also said today the president did call him this morning and they did have a good conversation. So yeah, Jay, a wild ride indeed.
I guess the good news here is because when you hear that, you start wondering, well, what percentage of our tests here in Ohio then are giving us inaccurate results? And that's why I'm really glad you sort of cleared that up and said that the more accurate test is being done 90% of the time here. That tends to make us a little more secure in the numbers that we're hearing are actually accurate numbers. But yeah, what a crazy story, Laura. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Topping your feed at 5, the governor wasn't the only one who tested positive for COVID-19 during screening here in Cleveland ahead of the president's visit. 6 Shoreby Club employees who were supposed to work the event also tested positive. They're going to get follow-up tests just like the governor did, but there are a lot of questions about these tests. Mark Namick takes a deeper dive into the testing confusion. He talked to an expert about why some tests produce false positives.
It was news that trumped the president's visit. Governor Mike DeWine testing positive for COVID-19. But hours later, he said he was confident he didn't have it based on more sensitive follow-up tests. There are 2 types of tests being used. The rapid test, also known as the antigen test, which measures certain proteins in the body and produces results in about 15 minutes. And there's the PCR test, which looks for a genetic material related to the virus, considered more sensitive, but takes more time.
And that's what happens in screening. So you get things, you're not rifle shooting, trying to make a diagnosis. You're throwing a wide net. And when you throw a wide net, you get false positives. When we set these tests up for very sick people, even in the best scenario, 95% of the time, that means 5% of the time we're wrong, right? So then you extrapolate that into a group that doesn't have disease. Most of your positives are actually false positives.
The Shoreby Club remains closed today, and the county health department is involved. We've not heard yet about the follow-up tests for the 6 employees who tested positive yesterday. Reporting from Cleveland, Mark Namick, 3 News.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And as soon as we do get word on those second tests from the 6 employees, we'll let you know. Today's numbers released by the state. For the 7th straight day, new cases are below our 21-day average. Ohio reporting 1,204 new cases. That is up 38 cases, though, from yesterday's number. Our positivity rate, however, is down once again from 5.6% yesterday to 5.1% yesterday. That is just slightly above the WHO's recommended threshold. Hospitalization numbers down again statewide. Now there are 956 COVID-19 patients in Ohio hospitals. That's a decrease of 23 patients from yesterday. Deaths, though, ticking up from yesterday. 34 were reported today. That is 12 more than yesterday's number of 22. Well, criticism, threats, and protests. That's what public health officials across the country have seen during the response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and that includes some right here in Northeast Ohio. Former Ohio Health Director Amy Acton was one of them. Protesters marched outside of her home when they were unhappy with some orders she issued. And Geauga County's health commissioner says negative messages have reached his office as well.
There are increasing numbers of phone calls or emails or even Facebook posts, social media posts that are negative, to say the least, sometimes insulting, sometimes threatening or harassing. A couple of anonymous calls where folks have done some, I'm assuming some internet research and found out about my own background, things that they're not hidden, but they're not published in terms of my past experience with WHO, my own religious preference, and so forth. And those have been mentioned in the phone calls, and that's concerning to me because it's somebody that's not just venting; it's somebody that looked me up somewhere, and that's unnerving.
Commissioner Quaid says most of the other health officials he's spoken with feel enough support from their communities to keep doing what they're doing. Stimulus showdown, and it appears to be ending tonight in a stalemate. No deal tonight from lawmakers on Capitol Hill. This is concerning because, as you know, the $600 stimulus package per week ran out some time ago. Talks ended just about an hour ago. Democrats say they offered to lower their spending if Republicans would increase theirs by $1 trillion. Republicans say Democrats refuse to budge from more than $900 billion in direct payments to state and local governments. Republicans want the payments to go directly to individuals. President Trump may move forward with executive action since the two sides could not reach an agreement. Well, it is 7 minutes past the 5 o'clock hour on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Time to get a check of headlines making news. And for that, we say happy Friday to Russ Mitchell. Hello, Russ.
It is a gorgeous day, Jay. Happy Friday to you as well. We begin in Medina County. An hours-long manhunt ended late last night when Medina City Police arrested the man they believe killed his wife and 84-year-old mother-in-law. This is body camera footage showing the moments that officers found 52-year-old Robert Dick in a wooded area. He's charged with murder and being held right now in the Medina County Jail. Parma police removed about 80 cats, probably 50 cats, from a home on Fernhurst today. Animal control and the health inspector were called there because of a bad smell. They say the cats and several raccoons were living in deplorable conditions. Those raccoons could not be removed because the homeowner did have a permit. President Trump has signed an executive order that will prohibit U.S. companies and citizens from using TikTok in 44 days. The president cites privacy concerns. He signed a similar order against Chinese-owned WeChat. And former President George W. Bush has released a new book, which is called Out of Many, One: Portraits of America's Immigrants. The book features 43 portraits he painted himself of immigrants he has come to know personally. He calls immigration, quote, the most American of issues, and says it should unite us. So, former president, obviously very busy there. He likes to paint. He's been doing that for a while now, selling a couple books on this.
Talented. They're very good. They're well done. Russ, I learn something new every day.
Okay.
Today, my takeaway is you can get permits for raccoons in your home.
Yeah, it's what it said. Apparently, you can get permits for raccoons in your home. So Jay, after this broadcast, you go to the raccoon store and perhaps pick up a few and take them home with you. How's that?
Of things I won't be doing this weekend, that's one of them.
Yeah, you and me both. Yes, I learned so much here every day as well, Jay. I understand.
You know, watch and win, as they say.
That's
Russ,
right.
thank you very much.
See ya.
We'll see you soon. Well, COVID-19 has school districts all over Ohio delaying or even canceling fall sports. But there's another group of hardworking students and coaches who are out there in this August heat practicing their hearts out. We are, of course, talking about marching bands.
That's right. And raccoon permit holder and Channel 3 employee Carl Bachtel stopped by Cuyahoga Falls High School to see what steps they're taking so that the kids can play safely despite the pandemic.
For nearly 100 years, the sound of the marching Tiger Band has echoed throughout Cuyahoga Falls.
This city loves their Tiger Band.
Alum and band parent Mark Bowers has a son who plays tuba. Like everywhere, coronavirus has brought huge changes.
The directors took the full Tiger Band and have broken it into 4 workable units that have just under about 50 each.
The students are spaced further apart and wear masks. In fact, so do their instruments. It sounds strange, but the band's directors have been planning for the unknown. Band director Dustin Harris has to put it all together.
It's been a very inconsistent year with many different sets of instructions, guidelines, recommendations that continue to change.
Cuyahoga Falls may be the only Summit County district to split up its band. That frustrates everyone.
There's not a lot of time to do, music rehearsal, music testing, the repetition for all of the moving around that the Tiger Band does.
Fall band shows have been canceled, but the community may still see and hear the pride of Cuyahoga Falls virtually.
We're constantly looking for different things that we would be permitted to do.
COVID-19, and the band played on. In Cuyahoga Falls, Carl Bachtel, 3 News.
All right, Carl, thank you very much. Ahead on What's New, Lighthouse into Light Home. How one woman transformed a Lake Erie landmark. This is a cool story.
And new threads. Our first look at the new Browns uniforms actually on the players. It's one of the stories clicking in Cleveland.
And our first hello of the day to Matt Wentz. Hi, Matt.
Hi there, Jay. Happy Friday to you. Feels just like Wednesday, feels just like Thursday outside because this weather continues to stamp out perfect conditions across Northeast Ohio. But we have some heat. In fact, I've changed some of the numbers. You're probably not going to like the humidity heading our way. We'll detail that coming up.
Explain it.
Welcome back to What's New. Today is National Lighthouse Day, and right here in Northeast Ohio, there's an East Side landmark that many of us know, and soon, Mike Polk, you may be able to spend the night there.
Happy Lighthouse Day, Jay, to you. I hope you get my card. Will Ewick takes us inside a woman's renovation project to turn the Fairport Harbor West Lighthouse into a summer home.
It just seemed to be a good summer home for me. It was a good price. It was on the water. It just had all the attributes I was looking for.
9 years ago, Washington, D.C. native Sheila Consul went looking for a summer home and ended up buying a lighthouse in Northeast Ohio.
Everybody who'd heard about me buying this lighthouse thought that I was nuts. But it has been worth it, and it's been an amazing and rewarding challenge. Some of the hardwood floors we redid.
To call renovating a dilapidated lighthouse into a summer home from over 350 miles away a challenge may be a bit of an understatement.
I get a little done every year, and it's really more of a marathon than a sprint.
Sheila had to redo walls, floors, windows, paint, and bring in new cabinets, furniture, and appliances, all to a house perched atop a platform on a break wall surrounded by water.
So one of the main challenges of owning this lighthouse is access. The combination of walking the break wall and the beach when there are things I can carry, and then when there are things that are too large, I need to hire a boat.
Another challenge, the Great Lake Relic turned summer home and is completely off the grid. So Sheila had to set up a combination of solar, wind, and generator power for electricity and is working on a system to repurpose rainwater.
I have to shower either in the lake, I call them my Lake Erie showers. There is a shower, an outdoor shower in Menor Headland State Park. And then I indulge friends who have showers who are willing to let me wash up occasionally.
Although Sheila purchased the lighthouse 9 years ago and continues to renovate the inside, up here it's still an active navigation aid and a weather station with solar panels working to operate the weather station and solar panels down below working to power this beacon that's maintained by the Coast Guard and still comes on each night from dusk till dawn.
I am just a steward. I am renovating it, I am saving it, I'm repairing it, but it will be here long after I am.
As she continues to revitalize the East Side remnant, Sheila is giving occasional tours, hosting an open house each year in June on the lighthouse's anniversary, and is hoping to begin renting it out soon.
I'd like to at some point, only because the demand is so high. So many people want to stay in a lighthouse.
It's all a way to shine a little more light on the building's history and share this Northeast Ohio monument with the community. A community she now feels very much a part of.
It is my summer home, but I also recognize that it's been the symbol of Lake County for many, many years.
In Lake County, Will Ewick.
And I'm just happy to be able to save it.
3 News.
Wow, Will, that is a great story. Thank you very much. I need to put my name, Mike and Matt, on the list, on the waiting list to, someone walks in front of Matt's camera, to stay at that lighthouse. I think it'd be pretty cool to stay there for a night or two.
I would totally Airbnb at that lighthouse in a heartbeat. And I am a weird guy who should live in a lighthouse, so I would like to see that happen someday. Matt, how about you? Lighthouse? Yes, lighthouse bound?
Mike, I could picture you in that lighthouse with a hook in your hand for some reason. I don't know. It probably turned into not such a good movie. But, you know, I would want to be out there in the middle of the winter because they just get battered out there with waves and wind. And you know how that ice piles up? I think that'd be a cool place to be.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Wow.
It'd be cool in a storm, too. I mean, you'd have to make sure you feel safe, but it would be pretty cool to watch a storm roll in from that lighthouse. Matt, you have a weather word today. It's timely.
Okay.
Contradiction.
Contradiction. Okay.
Contradiction.
Very good. That's actually, that fits right into the forecasting that I did a little bit earlier.
Perfect.
Emmy, what are you trying to show? Tomatoes?
Yeah.
Honey, you know your dress is on backwards?
No, because I lost a button.
You lost a button?
Put it back.
Okay, that's okay. All right. Well, here, go pick some tomatoes. Let's see how many tomatoes we can get by the end of. She gets dressed by herself. She does a great job most days. All right. I won't use the weather word there, Jay. You know, it's fitting, but it won't work. All right, let's get to your weekend weather. We'll just get right down to it. 82 degrees tomorrow. We are going to have lots of bright sunshine this weekend. More of the same. What a great stretch of weather we're in. Sunday, more sunshine, some high clouds, a little bit warmer. We'll be up in the mid and upper 80s area-wide, but we've got mainly clear skies here this afternoon. Just another gorgeous evening. That system that we were watching all week did head off to our east. No rain. The models were saying rain. And I'm going to use the weather word here because that was the contradiction. It was saying rain. I thought we'd stay dry, and thank goodness that stuff stayed off towards the east. That happens in weather a lot. You can see temperatures this evening are we're in the upper 70s generally, a little bit warmer down towards Dover, New Philly, Carrollton, Canton, Akron area, sitting near 80 degrees right now. But we've all got the refreshing air out of the north. Wind anywhere from about 5 to 15 miles per hour continues to blow in that drier air as measured by our dew point. All right, so we look off to the west. That's where the heat is building. It continues to expand. We've got 93 up in Bismarck, 82 in Lincoln because they've got storms, but look at Denver and areas of Texas in the mid and upper 90s. That warm air, that hot air, mind you, is heading our way as we get it into next week. But tonight, your get outside forecast looking A-OK. We'll be in the 70s with those continued clear skies. All right, let's take you through your weekend hour by hour. Tomorrow morning, another comfortable start. We'll start in the 50s inland, near 60 as you get towards the lakeshore. Lots of sunshine tomorrow, no rain in the forecast. We should make it up into the 80s as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. And then Sunday, another comfortable start. It's not till Sunday night and Monday that we really start to crank up that humidity. And you can see how that changes our weather with your Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. We'll be at 90 Monday, but the change in the forecast, I'm going to introduce some storm chances, not just Monday, Tuesday like we've had, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The system looks to kind of hang out rather than head a little bit further south. So we may end up with a pretty stormy week next week, Jay. We'll continue to keep an eye on that, but we all need the rainfall around here, and we'll go from there. Emmy, did you pick these, or is Mama ripening these outside? These are huge. Are these ours? No, those are from the store. Okay, great. Jay, we got to get it back to you. Sorry.
All right, Matt. Thank you. We'll see you in the next half hour.
Got it. All right.
Bank it. Why Cavs owner Dan Gilbert's net worth is soaring. That story and more straight ahead. Clicking in Cleveland is next on What's New. It is time right now to see what's clicking in Cleveland, and for that we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, I understand you have some stock market news for us today.
I do, Jay. Yes, thanks to the stock market, Cleveland Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert has just become the second richest NBA team owner, at least on paper. Gilbert took his business Rocket Companies public on the New York Stock Exchange today. That increased his net worth by $34 billion. According to Forbes, he's now worth over $41 billion. That is not a bad raise for a day's work. So, who's the richest NBA team owner? That goes to Los Angeles Clippers chairman Steve Ballmer by a lot. His estimated net worth is over $73 billion. That is a lot of cash, even if it's not real cash in hand. Now, things just got a lot more real for the Cleveland Browns. They have finally debuted their new uniforms on the actual players now that they're back in Berea. The team tweeted out pictures of quarterback Baker Mayfield looking all business, wide receiver Jarvis Landry, wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones, literally flexing in the new look, defensive end Myles Garrett, and also defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi, all masked up. The guys are looking great. Here's hoping we get to see them on the field on September 13th against the Ravens. Now, there's an interesting question that we're asking all of you. Should students be allowed to wear pajamas during online learning? I literally lived in pajamas all through high school in pajama pants. You can weigh in at wkyc.com/vote now. One school district in our near neighboring state of Illinois says no. Pajamas and pajama pants are banned from virtual classrooms. Now, some parents say this is absurd to say what kids can wear in their own homes, and others say they like the idea of respecting the classroom with a proper outfit. Right now, all of you say, 75% of you say, yes, we should be allowed to wear the pajamas for the online learning. Now, here's what. I happen to be wearing a dress today, so yes, this is a real outfit, but normally on a day when I have a shirt on, I'm wearing leggings, you guys. When we're doing this virtual stuff, Jay, my point is nobody knows what kind of pants you're wearing, and we can't tell the difference between a regular pajama top and a regular t-shirt. So I think we just need to let the kids live.
I'm with you. Comfort is king when you're at home. And I mean, in the first place, who can tell whether they're pajama pants or regular pants? In the online screen, all you see is the upper torso. What difference does it make?
That's right. You can't even see it. And Jay, I know when you were working from home, I remember some pajama pants on you too.
Yeah, there were days
so
I'm
not alone here.
You're absolutely right. All right, Stephanie, thanks. We will see you in the next half hour. 88 days and counting, with mail-in voting being widely used this November for the upcoming election. A look at when you're going to need to actually request that ballot and how long it's going to take to count them. That could be an issue. And no spectators, mostly empty parking lots. A preview of all the things that the Bridgestone Senior Players Championship are doing differently this time around.
There's no crying in baseball!
No, there is no crying in baseball. There is, however, another remake. I know fans of A League of Their Own are going to love this. We'll tell you where it is set to land when What's New comes right back.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Yes, it is, and a very happy Friday to you throughout Northeast Ohio. Welcome to the second half hour of What's New. I'm Jay Crawford along with Mike Polk, who is filling in for Betsy. Hey, Mike, any big plans for the weekend?
No, actually having a weird friend of mine come over and hang out in a little bit, because that's what we do in this new world, I guess, here at Chateau Polk. But it's going to be a nice, tight little weekend. How about you, Jay?
Well, the usual for me. Weird friend coming to visit? Does this friend know that you're calling them weird on TV?
All of my friends know that they're weird. Otherwise, why would they be my friends? I consider you a friend, by the way, Jay.
Well, and I consider myself to be weird, so this is just lining up perfectly. Well, I hope you have a great weekend, Mike, and we will see you in just a second. Our top talker, Governor DeWine's conflicting coronavirus tests, 2 tests using different methods, yielding, as we know by now, 2 very different results. The one that the White House had the governor take yesterday before the president's visit is a generally less accurate test, but the reason he was taking that one is because it gets a faster result. That one came back positive. Later, he was swabbed for a more standard test. That one is more accurate, and it came back negative. DeWine enlisted the help of a doctor to describe the differences between the 2 tests during his media briefing earlier today.
The test that I had in Cleveland is the antigen test. It's a relatively new test. It's a quicker test. The gold standard is what we did at Ohio State, and that's the PCR test.
It actually looks at the genetic makeup of the virus, looking at the RNA, and amplifies it. So even a very small, minuscule bit of the virus can be amplified, and because of that, it can be very sensitive. So it's a little bit less sensitive, and so you're going to have things that we call false negatives and false positives. Like binoculars, you're going to miss some stars. But the good part is you're going to be able to have lots of these across the field. And the key point of what we call point of care testing, which these enable, is that you can find out results within 15 or 20 minutes.
And obviously that can be advantageous in certain situations, as was the case yesterday. DeWine is going to get a 3rd test. That will happen tomorrow. They're going to use, by the way, another one of those PCR tests, more accurate, and see if it confirms his negative test from yesterday. Well, breaking news now. The Ohio High School Athletic Association says it will shorten the regular football season to, get this, just 6 games. The move was announced in a letter to schools just a short while ago. The season is set to begin on August 24th. The playoffs would start October 9th, and all schools will be eligible to participate in postseason play, meaning teams that have paused sports and don't start until September or October could still compete. The OHSAA says it came to the decision after the governor's office recommended an early end to the season. Jimmy Donovan will have more on this announcement coming up at 6 on What Matters Most. Well, currently we are 88 days away from the 2020 election, and mail-in voting will play a huge role this year, which could impact when we know our winners. Our resident lawyer, Stephanie Haney, is here now. She's also 3 News legal analyst. She explains in today's Legally Speaking.
This year may be the year that Election Day turns into Election Week and maybe even Election Month. And not because of voter fraud, but it does have to do with mail-in voting. For the first time ever, Ohio officials expect up to half of all votes in the presidential election to be sent in by mail because of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's double what we're used to seeing. Legally speaking, none of those votes can be tallied until 7:30 p.m. on election night, and as long as they're postmarked by November 2nd, they don't even have to arrive until November 13th to be counted. But they will be counted. To make sure of that, voters in Ohio can track their absentee ballot requests and their actual ballots, just like a package, at voteohio.gov. The deadline to register to vote here in Ohio is October 5th, and as long as you're in the system by Labor Day, you'll automatically be mailed an application to vote by mail. That part isn't new. Ohio's been doing that since 2012. If you want to vote by mail, just send in that application to your county board of elections, and then you'll be mailed an absentee ballot. In Ohio, there's no difference between absentee voting and mail-in voting, and Ohio isn't worried about mail voting fraud, with signature and voter ID checks at 2 different points in the process. But if you want to, you can always drop your absentee ballot off in person at your county board of elections by November 3rd. Just don't be surprised or concerned if we don't get the results back that day. This is Stephanie Haney, Legally Speaking, for 3 News.
Well, that's what I call some useful information. And it's that time of year again, folks. And while back-to-school shopping might look different this year, obviously, Ohio is still having its tax-free weekend going on right now. Through Sunday at midnight, you don't have to pay any tax on anything related to school supplies, including notebooks, folders, pencils, and pens under $20. Clothes are also included under $75. That's the entire cost of my whole wardrobe. And instructional materials like maps or reference books are also tax-free if under $20. This goes for any in-store or online shopping that you may have to do. We've actually posted a full list of all the items that are included at WKYC.com and on that handy-dandy WKYC app.
I know for a fact your wardrobe costs more than $75. Nice try, Mike. It's typically one of the biggest events of the year in Akron, but this year just won't be the same. Many things won't be the same this year. The Bridgestone Senior PGA Tour at Firestone Country Club has a lot of changes in store. That's where we find our Will Ewick tonight. Hello, Will. How will things be different this year? Let me count the ways.
Yeah, Jay, this thing has really progressed in the last couple of years. Rewind the clock a couple of years ago, Tiger Woods, the big boys, were still coming down here for the Bridgestone Invitational. Then last year it went to the Senior Tour with the championship down here. And then this year the Senior Tour back. But this year it is also COVID Senior Tour. So let's look right behind me here at hole 16. Now, this is an iconic hole. You remember Tiger Woods shot in the dark. This is their feature hole here at Firestone Country Club. These are typically grandstands, but there's no fans down here this year. So now they have it covered up with just signage and some sponsorships. There's no ropes set up because they're not obviously going to have any fans walking around. Everyone will also have to get a COVID test. There's about 80 players coming along with their caddies, along with staff, along with volunteers. Pro-Am, people that are playing in that on Wednesday have to get that COVID rapid test as well to make sure that they can play in the Pro-Am on Wednesday. So it's going to be much different. I mean, even parking in the parking lot and walking out here today, the fanfare is gone, Jay. There's no big signage. There's no big tents that you walk in. There's no concession stands. So a little less fanfare down here, but they are very excited that they were able to pull this off and, albeit a watered-down version, still have professional golf for the 67th time in Akron this year.
Well, it's nice to keep that string going. Will, normally the area enjoys a little economic boost because of all of the fans that are spending money in and around the tournament. Will there be any sort of economic impact at all to the area this year with all the changes?
Yeah, that's a great point, Jay. I mean, you rewind, as I mentioned a couple of years ago, do you think when Tiger was coming down here, people around here would have just signs set up for parking in their front yard? And I heard from several people that they would basically pay off their property taxes that year just from people parking that week. Wow. That dropped, obviously, last year with the Senior Tour. This year, no fans. However, they were able to work something out. The sponsors of Bridgestone, Westfield, First Energy, all contributing. Plus, that Pro-Am is a pretty penny to get in. And they're able to use that to still contribute to local charities like the Food Bank down here and United Way, as well as some children's hospitals as well. So they're still going to get a little bit of money down here.
Well, that's good to hear because I know these tournaments generate a lot of money for charities in the area where they take place. And I'm glad to see that that will continue at least in some form. Will, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Culture of hate.
Thanks, Jay.
Prince Harry has a very strong take on the state of social media. That's straight ahead in your pop break.
And Matthew, what is going on outside nowadays? Tell us, tell.
Hi there, Mike. Happy Friday to you. Perfect conditions once again today. This will carry over into part of our weekend. We'll detail what part, and we'll also talk about big changes coming our way next week in the forecast.
Social media toxicity and a messy divorce for a This Is Us star. Here's your Friday Pop Break.
Prince Henry is letting his opinions on social media be known in an open letter with news website Fast Company. The Duke of Sussex shared his unfiltered thoughts on the toxic culture surrounding media platforms, writing, "We believe we have to remodel the architecture of our online community in a way defined more by compassion than hate." Harry also mentions that much like lead paint pre-research, he's worried about the damaging effect social media will have on his own child, Archie, and every other young child in the world. He says he hopes that things will change in the future because, quote, "When we create safe spaces both online and off, everyone wins."
I just got a Google alert from TMZ. Justin Hartley files for divorce.
Oh my God.
Hi. You just blindsided you?
Selling Sunset Season 3's finally here, and it's addressing Chrishell Stouse's shocking divorce from This Is Us actor Justin Hartley. According to Chrishell, Hartley allegedly texted her that divorce papers were filed, and the realtor says she has no idea what happened. The aftermath plays out throughout the third season, and it is guaranteed to be one to watch.
There's no crying in baseball! Got him!
And there's no crying at Amazon Studios either. According to Variety, the streaming service has picked up the A League of Their Own series. The show will star Abby Jacobson as well as The Good Place's Darcy Carden, and will include a more in-depth look at issues of the time, including racism and gay rights. Let's hope they knock it out of the park. That is your Pop Break. You are now fully informed.
Oh, I see. I thought they were going to remake the movie, so it's just a series. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a great movie too. I mean, honestly, that's one of those things I can get behind as far as like a series. I mean, Tom Hanks deserved an Oscar nod for that, and John Lovett's fantastic in that movie, and I don't like giving John Lovett's praise, but he was. It was a great film.
He was good.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll watch that.
Back to what Prince Harry was saying about social media. Couldn't agree more. Don't know where you are on that, but there's just so much hate online. I think society has been a lot more divided since the inception of social media. Your thoughts?
And I actually think that leaded paint thing is a great comparison. I really do, because it's one of those things that we don't even know it's affecting us right now, and we'll know down the line how much of an effect it's having on us, because we're the first generation, and these kids are the first generation to have a full-on assault of that through their entire childhood and development period, and it's scary what could possibly happen from it. So I think that's a good point. It's good that he's speaking out.
I'm glad he did, and I like that analogy too. It really rings true. Time to get a check on the weather. Matt, I noticed that you threw a couple of more rain days in there, but again, you're safe because Saturday and Sunday still look clear, so I'm good.
Yeah. Jay, I was well aware of that when making the decision. There's a real good chance of rain every day this weekend, but I kept it out of there just to keep you dry. So, no, for sure. Yeah, actually, Jay, this weekend looks fantastic. We've got sunshine. I mean, this stretch of weather we've had, think about it, we've had it for 3 days now. We've had this unseasonably low humidity. Typically, it's more humid this time of year.
Right.
But things are going to start to change. We're going to ramp everything kind of back up as we go into next week, and you'll see here in the forecast some of the numbers will reflect that. But the big picture of the weekend looks like this. Partly partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies on your Northeast Ohio Saturday. Think about those outdoor plans because they are going to go off without a hitch. 82 degrees for a high, a little bit warmer on Sunday. Neither of those days come with very high humidity. We're still going to remain comfortable all the way through Sunday afternoon. Today, the official numbers are in. These are hot off the press. 78 degrees officially at Hopkins today. That is below our average of 82. You can see the records there. This always blows my mind. It's been as cold as 48 degrees at night back in 1997. So it's certainly possible to get some of these cooler spells. But we're kind of right in between. Temperatures outside this afternoon, heading into the evening, right near 80 degrees, a little bit warmer down to the south. But that heat that we're watching off towards the west, it built across Texas over the last 2 days. Now it's expanded up into the Dakotas. That will expand east over the next couple of days. You can say numerous 90-degree temperatures currently on the map. The big picture, you see a couple of those puffy cumulus clouds as expected away from the lake. All the rain stayed just off to our east with that little roaming weather system that's going to head up into New England. But we've really got the influence of high pressure really over the next couple of days until things start to change next week. Your get outside forecast tonight looks fantastic. 70s and lots of sunshine. You might need a jacket even because we're going to be back into the 60s as we get into the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour at some of those outlying locations. So keep that in mind. National Design Mart Hour by our forecast. Let's take it all the way through the weekend. Here's your Saturday morning. Clear skies, 50s inland, just another beautiful start. 60s near the lakeshore. By afternoon, we'll have a couple puffy cumulus clouds bubbling up in the heating of the day. Should make it up near 80 degrees, but we will stay dry on your Saturday. Sunday, again, much more the same. 50s in the morning inland, near 60 lakeshore. We're up into the mid and upper 80s, though, and you can see some of those storms roaming just off towards our north. That humidity, as I mentioned, not present this weekend, but Sunday night and Monday is really when it ramps up, and we have a pretty humid week ahead of us next week. Kind of something you'd expect for this time of year. You can see Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. That comes with a thunderstorm risk, just a slight risk on Monday. I think Tuesday's when we really ramp up those storms. Some of those could be strong at some point next week as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on it, but a very summer-like pattern kind of begins as we go into next week. Jay and Mike?
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Well, summer sangria, how you can make the perfect drink for the weekend, coming up next.
And ahead at 6 on What Matters Most, balancing the pandemic in our trek across Ohio's 88 counties in 88 days. Today, we're heading south. We'll take you to Marietta College to see how the college is handling students coming back to class. That's ahead on What Matters Most at the top of the hour. It is the start of what looks to be another perfect summer weekend. And what better way or better drink to enjoy on your deck or patio than a nice sangria?
Matt wouldn't lie to us. It is going to be beautiful. Joseph Fredrickson from Society Lounge is now going to show us some new ways to make that hot sangria drink. Take a look.
Basically, when I started off with that Malbec, added my Hennessy, put it on the ice to make it nice and cool because this is a summertime drink. I used some different things I picked up at the market today. I've got the bean cherries right here. I've got some nice, beautiful red plums that were local and some local apples as well. You usually want kind of a neutral juice, so I went for a mix of pineapple and guava. And I just mix those all together, put it in the glass. You can do it by the pitcher. I always say if you do it by the pitcher, do roughly a bottle and then about a cup of hard liquor. Usually brandy is what's traditional, but as you will see with some of the other ones, you can kind of have your field day with what you think will hit your palate and complement the wine. On the white side, I went for a white wine. I went for a Sauvignon Blanc because the acidity level is something that I really enjoy on a Sauvignon Blanc. For the booze that I added to that, once again, kind of going with that cup per bottle or 1 to 2 ounces per glass, I used an Applejack that's out of Sugar and Falls called Tom's Foolery Applejack. And I thought the fruit aspect of the Ohio apples really complemented the Sauvignon Blanc. Fruit-wise, I went with a lot of lighter white fruits. I got the peaches, the pineapple, some nectarines, and some apricots. And on the juice-wise, I juiced up some strawberries with that as well, which we're actually using strawberries in my next drink that I'm going to make for you. So your neutral juice is going to be the strawberries and then just a little bit of simple syrup to cut the acidity. Jumping into my next drink, I wanted to do one of my favorite go-to beverages when I'm sitting on a patio, a sparkling rosé. Rosés are great because you get that refreshing nature of a white wine, but the robustness of a red wine, but still very approachable. And of course, I love my bubbles, anyone will tell you. So I wanted to start off with that. I thought gin would go really well with that, with a nice botanical heavy flavor profile. I chose to use the Bim and Pedal, which is by the guys at Middle West Spirits out of Columbus, Ohio. So nice local flavoring, great floral gin. Just going with an ounce on that because it is early and I don't want to be able to limit my day, be able to get the most out of my day. So Bim and Pedal. Inside the glass already, I wanted the glass to chill because it helps keep the bubbles when you have a nice cold glass. Watermelon, I think is great, which I'm going to do a pairing here in a second. And then my juice, I use grapefruit juice as my kind of neutral, slightly acidic. So I'm going to pour that grapefruit in there. There you are. Sweet side, I actually did something interesting. I went to the local store and I picked up a little bit of tamarind juice and a little bit of fresh sugarcane juice. So instead of using simple syrup or table, I just used cans of that, mix it together. The tamarind has a nice acidity to it, and that cane sugar is going to give you a nice sweetness. There you go. And then, of course, the most important element, we've got our sparkling rosé, which is going to be nice and give you some bubbles, extra bubbles there. There you go. Enough to tickle your nostrils, if you will. Got a little bit of salted watermelon. The salt really brings out the flavors of the rosé. So I'll take a little nibble there. Going to take a little sip here, and I can't wait to see you at Six City Sailors Club down here on Euclid Avenue downtown. And if you happen to be downtown Thursday through Saturday, please come see us over at Society Lounge. We'd love to make you a drink. Cheers.
Mike, that almost looks too good to drink.
It does. Did he say he stopped by somewhere and picked up tamarind juice or something? I didn't hear. It didn't seem like something you could easily pick up. Was that what he said?
I thought that's what he said. I think you're right, yeah.
We shop at different stores. They don't have that at Mark's, but that still looked like a delicious drink.
It did, and it looks like a nice way to spend the weekend. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to take our final time out, and we're back to wrap up our Friday edition of What's New right after this. Mike, we have about 40 seconds left. I figure that's plenty of time for you to be able to make me laugh at least once.
I can't make any promises. In fact, I think we're doing a real bad job tonight, Jay, as far as keeping people entertained, because this is the effect we had on one of our viewers. That's not ideal.
No.
I mean, we're apparently that stimulating that we can't even keep this cat engaged for longer than an hour.
Well,
so
let's face
I don't know what
it.
to tell you, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know how you keep a cat engaged for longer than 3 minutes. I've never had any luck at all doing that. I don't have a connection with cats.
Thank you. Well, good luck with this one, by the way, because this one's the fussiest of all cats. Thank you for having me, though, today, Jay.
Mike, always good to see you. Enjoy your weekend. That's it for another week of What's New. We hope you join us Monday at